Hi, I'm Novel Mike, and this is my opinion. This is going to be a spoiler talk for Trails of Cold Steel 2. I was originally going to do these in more of an order, do like Act 1 and Act 2, and then do the final stuff, or something along those lines, but I have to talk about the ending. I just have to get this out because, damn this game. Okay, so spoiler warning now, if you have not finished Trails of Cold Steel 2, and I mean completely finished, you have saved clear data, do not watch this video. I'm going to spoil everything. So I'll give you a second. If you have not done that, please leave now, close the video, do whatever, go play the game, go play the first one if you haven't already. There we go. This is more probably off scripted than I normally would do. Like I don't normally do these with a script, but I normally have some idea what I want to say, but I'm just feeling so many emotions from this game and this ending that it's just hard to really express myself properly, but I'm gonna do my best here. So first off, the finale. All through Act 2, you rebuild. You all through Act 1, you reassemble your teammates. Act 2, you're reassembling all the escape students from Thor's. And at the finale, at the end of Act 2, you retake Trista and Thor's military academy. There's this really nice moment, with the upclass students who stayed and you're beating them and all that, and everyone, working together at last. And then now it's time to go take over the capital, and the armies are there, and all that crazy stuff happens. You free the Emperor, and then crazy stuff starts to happen in the palace because Duke Cayenne, or whatever the crap his name is, does all this crazy thing with one of these. I guess it's a Divine Knight, except it's like a corrupted Divine Knight. I don't know. It looks like a Divine Knight, but it's called like the Crimson Calamity or something like that. But anyway, you go there. You have these really awesome little scenes where you get to see all your support people come in and help the students out trying to take on like the enforcers from Ouroboros and all this other stuff. There's this really awesome battle. McBurn, who's enforcer number 1, gets all demon face, and they call him like Demon McBurn or whatever. And then Viscount Arseed shows up, and they start to fight, and it actually shows you part of the fight, which is just awesome looking, really well done. And then we get to the top of the tower, and it shifts. Like the whole point of this story is about Reen reassembling Class 7. He's reassembled all his main friends, but the one who he hasn't been able to pull back over is Crow, who started all this mess to begin with. And then you've got, the Noble Alliance and everything else, all this other crazy stuff going on, but at its heart, the main point of this story is about Reen trying to bring back Crow and holding on to the hope that everything can go back to how it was. And so they fight, they beat each other up. Crow loses, Reen wins, it sounds like everything's gonna be a happy ending. Then Duke Cayenne activates the Crimson thing, the giant evil mech, and using the Prince of the Kingdom, Cedric, I think his name is. I may be wrong about that, but it's such a minor point, but he's there. He's the one they use for this. So, that happens. This giant mech wakes up, and then Reen and Crow team up to take it on. It's this really awesome final battle because you get to use all your party members. You have everybody fight these 2 battles like on the ground, and you have the Ashen Knight and the Azure Knight fighting together. You have this ultimate final attack that's like a X-Strike kind of thing. If you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, you'll recognize that, or I Am Setsuna. And it's just really, really awesome. And then at the very end of it, Reen is able to save the prince, but Crow essentially sacrifices his own life to do so. And Crow dies. And it's such a sad moment because it's just like Reen reassembled everybody else, and he probably knew deep down like there wasn't an easy way to bring Crow back, but Crow did essentially come back at the end, only to die at the very end. And it sucks because it's such a good character story, even though I get why the plot dictates that, because right after that happens, friggin' Rufus shows up, and we get not just Rufus surprise, oh hey, he's not on the Noble Lion side, he's an Ironblood, like Milliam, Claire, and Lecter, who worked under Chancellor Osborne, and Osborne is now dead. Oh wait, no he's not, Osborne's alive! Because reasons that are never explained. And the game even teases you. Maybe I had a body double. Maybe I did something nefarious. I'll let you try to figure it out. Like, really, game? You couldn't at least explain somewhat or give some kind of hint besides, you know, the crap he says. And then, oh yeah, also, Rean, you're my son. Hi. And that's when the credits roll. Like, he tells Rean, oh hey, I'm your real birth father. You know, you were adopted by the Schwarzer family, and no, you're really my son. And no explanation of how or why that happens. And then the credits roll, and I'm just like, what the hell? And thankfully, I'm like losing my mind at that point, because I'm like, you can't friggin' end the game on this kind of cliffhanger. That's just mean. But it doesn't. Like, you get to the end, you save your data, and I noticed right away, it's not asking me to save clear data. Okay, please tell me there's some kind of extended story or something that ties up something. Please, don't end it like that, for love of God. And it does continue. It when Osborne, you know, resurrects or whatever, and he's after Crow dies and everything, and he shows up, he immediately says they're attacking Crossbell, and I'm like, oh God, you know, and he wants to use Rean to help take over Crossbell, and I'm just like, okay, what the hell does this mean? Does this mean third game Rean is the bad guy? But no, it warps you to March of the next year. It's, you know, end of December, early January now, and then all of a sudden, Rean he's there fighting Calvard, and they've already taken over Crossbell. Like, in just a matter of months. I mean, they said it was, like, done in a day, actually, like, in the storyline, but, you know, to get everything set up, get everything prepared, yeah, they just took over Crossbell in a day, and what's crazy is you have this complete other, like, just surprise of two characters you're playing as, Lloyd and Risha, I think is how you pronounce her name, and they're characters from the Crossbell arc, which I've talked about in my other videos that we haven't gotten in the States yet, and they're there and they're trying to do something to stop the Imperial government from getting data or something. I'm sure it makes sense if you played Ao Casey and Zero no Casey, but I haven't, so I have no idea what the hell is going on. But the main point of that, essentially, is you get to the end, and then friggin' Rean shows up, fighting with Altina against you, and is essentially the final boss of this little side story. I'm just like, oh, come on, don't say this is where it ends, and Rean is actually the bad guy. But no, it still continues even after that. And there's an epilogue, and immediately the epilogue made me feel completely terrified, because it begins with Rean saying that Class 7 is about to be disbanded. He's narrating it, and he was saying it's the final weeks we would be together, and I'm just like, no, don't. The whole point of this game is to reassemble Class 7. Don't make them break up in the end, no! So you play this epilogue, and God, it's hard to play through, honestly. Like, it's not just what you're dreading with Class 7, but like you go around and you're talking to all the second years, and you know they're all about to graduate in a few weeks. So essentially, everyone's like, a lot of the more notable people, I mean not all of them, but a lot of notable people are about to leave, and it's just, it gives you such mixed feelings to see what all these people have planned to do after they leave, and what they're gonna, you know, either work for their families, travel, stuff like that. And it's so bittersweet, because you love these characters, and even though they're minor, like, they've been a part of the game this whole time, and not just, like, in the first game, they were just people you could talk to, you really didn't have to or anything like that. But in this game, you recruit them for the courageous, and they become part of your staff and part of your team, and they talk to you about things, and they have scenes with each other and stuff like that. And it's really interesting. It's really well developed, and now a lot of them are leaving, and it's really sad, because not only are they leaving, but Class 7's leaving, and you find out that night that Rean's staying. I don't know why, I guess. Essentially, what it seems like is everyone else has found a path to follow, or the path they need to follow in certain cases. You know, Eustace has to go take care of Bereahard because his brother, oh yeah, that's the other thing, Rufus is now the Governor General of Crossbell. Okay. I guess if they ever do a sequel to the other Crossbow games that have come out, Rufus will probably be the final boss or something. But anyway, that and they arrest the Duke in Chapter 2, his father. So Rufus is essentially the next head of the Alborea family. He's the next Duke, I guess. I don't know how that actually works, like promoting him wise, but that's a thing. And so then you've got Alyssa's family, who all these board of directors are gone, and the company's kind of falling apart. And hell, her grandfather is working with the company again with her mother. They hated each other for the longest time, and now they're working together again. And she feels like she needs to do her part because she doesn't want to, put all this pressure on those two people when they've lost so much, and the company's having a hard time, even though the economy of Ebrony itself is doing really well now. And that's one of the crazier things, is like how much they talk about stuff like that in this game. So like everyone's got a different reason for leaving. Elliot's going to go to a music academy like he really wanted to. Marcus is going to go into like some politics school, or I don't even remember what he said. I could barely pay attention to some of this because I'm just like so overwhelmed, like all this is happening. And so everyone's got a reason to leave except for Reen, since they're kind of using him to like as a threat deterrent against Calvert and Crossbill, and they do intend to have him fight for the Imperial Army in the future when they need him, assuming he's willing and everything, in which he seems to. Although he's thankfully not talking to Osborn, or doesn't say much about Osborn, but he's not happy about that. He's really pissed about it, especially because like he has this whole tantrum at the very end of the finale, because he's so upset about Crow, and then all of a sudden fucking Osborn's alive. Excuse my language. So all that happens, and you have this final day where you can go do quests, and it's like a normal day from the first game, where you're doing quests, all these side quests, and then you go you can do bonding events. You can't actually do bonding events, but you can go talk to all your classmates and whatnot. And then at the very end of it all, and there's some really good scenes in these quest lines, like Annabelle, who's been this fisherman who you meet in the first game, who doesn't seem to care about fishing in the beginning, or at least she doesn't appear to. And she has this whole storyline in the first game. In the second game, she basically replaces Kenneth for the most part, giving you the fishing upgrades, and that's who you can spend your points with, that kind of thing. And she's had this whole arranged marriage and to Kenneth's brother, and now you're eventually helping her get out of that. And there's this really nice scene at the end where she starts to seem to realize that she might be in love with Kenneth. And God, there's so much other stuff I could talk about, like the final bonding scenes with whoever you romance and stuff like that. But okay, stay on point, Mike. Anyway, so like there's probably my favorite one is you battle Patrick again, and a lot of the Noble Alliance people, and then the principal and the nurse, or not nurse, but the Professor Beatrix, the one who runs the infirmary. Like they show up, and you actually have to fight them, and it's a really cool scene. And because you saw friggin' the principal like cleaving tanks with his giant spear sword. Anyway, at the very end, it's a redoing of essentially what happens in the final chapter / the first game, where essentially Patrick has come to accept Rain. Rain's come to accept Patrick, although anytime he brings up his sister, that doesn't go well for Patrick, but it's pretty hilarious at least. And that leads us into this final thing where Ring goes to the old schoolhouse, and that's when Toval shows up, and then Alphen and Elise show up, and then everybody shows up because something has once again happened to the old schoolhouse. They go in, and it's just like at the end of the first game where the schoolhouse has been transformed. And it's a really cool moment because everyone that essentially has been playable at one point or another in the game is now playable at this end of the game. Alphen, Elise, Toval, Sharon, Claire, Sarah, of course. Everybody's playable, and it's really cool too because like for 200,000 Mira, you can buy these little amulet things, and it's an accessory, but it basically changes your character in battle to be either Crow, Vita, oh god, what's her name? Millium sort of sister, the Black Rabbit. God, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name now, but anyway, Lloyd from who we were just playing as, or Aricia. And it's really cool because you get like all their crafts and like their stats, and like I used it as Crow one time just to see what it would do, and like he was doing really crazy damage, and it was really fun. And you're going through this dungeon, and at the very end of it, essentially the final boss says he's essentially a nothing. Like they don't really need to do this trial essentially, but the kids know they have to turn the schoolhouse back to normal, so they have to fight it. And it's a very somber moment because it's essentially the final mission of Class 7, because after this, they're gonna have their exams and then they're all gone. So you fight the thing, and then after you beat it, and oh my god, that's a hard boss fight, and after you beat it, it hits all of them that Class 7's over, and William starts to cry, and she's been there the least time out of any of them, and it hurts her probably more than anyone because she's never had anything like this. Like even Fee, who's been not the most social person, she at least had Zephyr before they abandoned her and all that. Everyone's got their own family. She hasn't really had that kind of thing before, and it hits her first, and then everybody starts crying and realizing essentially they're done as a team. And God, if I didn't just cry along with them, it's even making me want to tear up right now, because it's such a sad realization that everything that they've done for this whole game for all these months has essentially led to the same sort of ending where they're all being separated again, just like the first game did. And then after that scene goes, they have it skips forward to the departure day where they all say goodbye to Rean and everybody else. Everybody leaves, and that's when the second credits roll, and it's hard to really put into words how it all makes me feel, because there's so much stuff that happens at the end of this, and so many questions are left unanswered. But I don't want to say it's a bad ending, like bad as in not that it was done badly or done poorly, but just it's not a happy ending kind of thing. It's very bittersweet, because in the end, everything Rean worked for in this game to get them all back together again, he's now losing again. I don't know that I'm okay with that, I guess you could say. It's hard to really explain exactly why it hits you so much, but I guess it's just because we're attached to all these characters and all this hardship they've gone through time and time again, and how they've all come together against all these odds and really made a difference, and then now they're all being dragged away again. I mean, and it's not like, oh, it's a bad thing. They all have their own things they have to do, they have to accomplish. Like I mentioned with Elisa and Eustace, they have to take care of their families, and everyone's got a different thing they need to do, or they feel like they found a purpose to do, and Rean sort of hasn't. And at least that's my takeaway from it. He's decided to fight with Valimar, but he doesn't really seem to know what he wants. It seems like this whole thing about Osborn has shaken him, because before he found that out, he was very resolved about everything, but losing Crow and then finding out this crazy shit about his real father, just like, I was really surprised at the end there wasn't, like, he smiles at the end before the credits roll. He doesn't say anything, but I was really surprised he doesn't, like, even mentally say something like, I wish you guys weren't leaving, because it really does feel like, time goes on, but it really hurts all of them to part. And God, is it hard to watch. Jesus. After everything, I spent, I think it was 90 hours in this game altogether, maybe 80, something like that. Getting to, see all these characters meet up again, seeing how emotional they are about finding Rean again, and all this other stuff, and to see them have to part again, even if it is on their own note, even if it is because they have to, they're essentially growing up and having to do what they have to do, it's just really bittersweet. So, the biggest problem I have with the way the game ends is how many things are left unclear. Just gonna list out a couple things. Maybe some of these have answers if I replay through the game again, maybe not, but How did Osborne live? Like, what the hell? I mentioned that earlier. Like, why did he abandon Reen? And did his stepfather, the Schwarzer family and everything, they seem to know something about his birth or where he came from, but did they know he was Chancellor Osborne's son, or did they not? Like, it seems really weird to me that these sort of events happened and with no real explanation. And then you got all this other stuff, like Zephyr mentions that they're trying to bring back their old boss. No explanation, that's just what they're trying to do. How you're going to bring somebody back from the dead? I mean, a lot of crazy things happen in these games, who knows? And oh god, just thinking about bringing people back from the dead. Right at the very end, when everyone's having their little big cry, you see like a ghost of Crow in the back, just like giggling, like real quick, and then it fades to the next scene. Oh god, that hurt a lot to my heart to see that. And I was really surprised Crow died, because I had seen the Crow accessory you could equip. I didn't know his accessory at the time, like in the final dungeon, so I was expecting him somehow to come back and like Vita and all these other characters to join your party, but that didn't happen at all, so that was really surprising for me. But yeah, other things that are just left unresolved. Lohengrin Castle, that's a big one for me. They hint about something's in there, but you barely go there twice. Nothing actually happens there. I think possibly another Divine Knights there. Maybe that'll be something that happens in the third game. They reference the western side of Erebonia constantly throughout this game, but you never go there, you never get to see it. I have no idea what it looks like. They reference it a lot in the first game too, but you just don't see any of it. And then this whole plan Ouroboros has, that apparently now Osborne is now trying to take over. Like, there's so many questions they just leave without any explanation, and god, is it infuriating, because like the third game isn't even like confirmed for any kind of date. There's like one spoiler pic of a possible like character art for Reen out there that you can see from another game, which may or not be final, and like we probably won't find anything about Cold Steel 3 until, since the Tokyo Game Show is happening now and they haven't said anything, you know, we probably won't find anything out until December, and god, that hurts. And we'll probably won't even get it maybe next year if we're lucky, probably the next year after that. I see why people have been frustrated with this ending. It's like, it is a conclusion. Like, this is the end of the story of what the first game sets up. Like, everything is resolved from Class 7 standpoint, and now they've gone through their school years essentially, and I'm guessing when the next game starts, if it is going to start with Reen, it's probably going to be some kind of time gap. If it doesn't, like, these characters have so many close ties to this world, I would be very surprised if they don't include them in some way, shape, or form, unless it doesn't take place with any of them, like on the western side of the continent or something. But god, that would suck if they did that. And, you know, Trails in the Sky, the first two games have, oh god, I can't remember her name. The main girl, I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry for all you Trails in the Sky fans. Like, she's the main character of the first two games, but she plays a much more minor role in the third game, and it's like one of your other companions from the first two games that's the main character of the third game, so they could do something like that. I know a lot of people have said maybe Gaius is the main character, Emma or someone like that, someone who has a lot more storyline they could cover, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. This is going on long enough, and I love Cold Steel 2. It's a fantastic game. It's just really hard to talk about the ending like this. This is just my gut reaction. I just finished this about an hour ago, and I just wanted to go ahead and get it out there and express what I feel, because god, this game made me feel so many feelings in just a short amount of time. I mean, less than a day ago, I was still in Act 2, so anywho, Cold Steel 2 is an amazing game. It's easily the best game I've played all year. It will probably be my game of the year. And I can't wait for Cold Steel 3. In the meantime, though, I really do need to play Trails in the Sky 1 and 2. Especially before the third chapter comes out, which sometime next year. And oh yeah, Xseed, if anyone from there watches this, I hope to god you know you have to bring the Crossbow games out here now. Like, no excuses. Okay, no, you can't put them out on Vita. do with what you're doing with third and put it out on PC. I know you can do that. At least people have told me that. I hope you can do that. Because there's so many things that tie into those games. Like, we need to see those things, and hopefully they provide more answers to this game as well. Oh yeah, one other weird thing that I'm hoping, because I read some minor things about New Game Plus, and like, and the teacher Thomas has this, he's like holding back power, and they hint that he's more than he says he is, or something like that, and that's also unexplained and just drops out of nowhere, and I'm just like resolution, come on. Anyway, I'm Novel Mike. Thank you for watching. I need to end this video before I talk for another 40 minutes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Enjoy Trails of Cold Steel 2 if you haven't finished it already, and I really hope you have if you watch this. Thanks.